Hey Star Warriors, StarGeek here. Shortly after acquiring Lucasfilm and the rights to Star Wars, Disney CEO Bob Iger made a big announcement. Not only were they going to continue the saga, but in between each movie, a spin-off film would be released.
And there will be more feature films, as well as consumer products, television projects, games, and theme park attractions.
Well, just a few days ago, the announcement that fans have been waiting for finally came. An Obi-Wan Kenobi spin-off movie is in the works. Obviously, fans want as much of this galaxy as they can get, so anthology films from various timelines and worlds are totally welcomed. And for Disney, it's a way to pump out more and more content for the masses to purchase.
The Star Wars universe now has more than 17,000 characters, inhabiting several thousand planets and spanning 20,000 years.
And well more than thousands of dollars to be made. But before we get too critical of how oversaturated they've made the Star Wars market, let's look at how their spin-off films have turned out and if they've paid off. There are 3 chapters to analyze here that I want to go through, starting with the very first Star Wars film to branch away from the main saga, Rogue One. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, follows Jyn Erso, daughter of the man who designed crucial components to the Death Star. Throughout the film, she meets a slew of colorful characters who together team up to obtain the plans to the Empire's superweapon, in hopes of destroying it. Being set right before the original 1977 movie, Rogue One gave us a completely different look at the potential of Star Wars prequels. Not only did it show a grittier version of the universe than we'd seen before, but it also set the bar for what the spin-off films should be. The film received mixed reviews among fans, but overall went on to become successful. I'd say that Rogue One was definitely a step in the right direction, and seemed like a promising look at what lies ahead from Disney. So with Rogue One working out, they were ready to move on to the next anthology film, a character that everybody loves but nobody wants to see more of, Han Solo. Don't get me wrong, Han is one of my favorite characters, but Han Solo is Harrison Ford. He can't be replaced, especially not by someone who barely resembles him at all. On top of that, we already know the general backstory of his character. We don't need to see Disney's interpretation of the Kessel Run, winning the Millennium Falcon, or meeting Chewbacca. Sometimes it's best to let the fans keep their own ideas of how things happened. But I don't mean to sound so negative. I like to keep some optimism with these types of things. And I was optimistic. For a while. And then the Han Solo debacle began. Directors fired, actors needing help, and the character of Han Solo being compared to Ace Ventura?
Alrighty then.
The whole project seems like a mess, but not all hope is lost. Lucasfilm alumni Ron Howard took on the job of directing the movie, regularly posting images to Twitter that make the production look really exciting. Plus, there's lots of proof that a Han Solo story can be truly incredible. In 2016, Marvel put out a short 5-issue run of Han Solo comic books, featuring the smuggler during the time right after A New Hope on an obscure mission for the Rebellion. It's really just a random side plot, but with such stunning artwork and a gripping story, Han Solo racing in the Dragon Void has become one of my favorite events in Star Wars history. If the people working on the movie can be half as successful as this series, I'll be thrilled. We just have to wait and see. In the meantime, we can turn our theories and expectations towards a new spin-off project, something that I've waited for since I talked about it back in 2015.
Something's waiting in the bushes of love.
Obi-Wan Kenobi is the ideal candidate for an anthology film. There are so many different ways to tell his expansive story, and with such an incredible actor behind him too. The way I see it, there are only 3 timelines to choose for this film. Right now, Ewan McGregor is the perfect age to play a post-Revenge of the Sith, pre-A New Hope Tatooine hermit-type Ben. This is a fan-favorite concept and really the only one I've thoroughly thought through. We could follow Kenobi as he hones his skills in the Force on Tatooine, watching over Luke. We've seen the potential of this in Marvel's official 2015 Star Wars comic series, and it's surprisingly thrilling for such a dull-sounding idea. Of course, my original hopes for an Obi-Wan spin-off have been completely dashed because of Rebels Season 3. If you haven't seen the show yet, here's a huge spoiler warning. I highly recommend watching episode 20, Twin Suns, if you're an Obi-Wan Kenobi or Darth Maul fan. The final confrontation between these two mortal enemies is something that I've been dying to see ever since I first learned about Maul's survival from the events of episode 1. Maul being dead set on revenge after Obi-Wan bested and scarred him for life on Naboo, and Obi-Wan having pent-up emotions from once again fighting the man who has slain his master. It would have been perfect on the big screen, but Rebels quickly, yet tastefully, took that possibility off the table. So with the many Maul-centered storylines unavailable to adapt into a film, what's left? Seeing Ben doing chores, writing a journal, and disturbingly watching a family for hours on end? Let's explore some other timelines. Fans of the Clone Wars know just how emotionally deep the connection between Obi-Wan and his love interest Satine Kryze was. The possibilities to explore with Obi-Wan's introduction to Satine are limitless. Really, the only problem here is the age of the character. Being so young, there's no way that Ewan McGregor could reprise his role for this plotline, which technically isn't out of the question since he isn't officially on the project yet.
I'd very much like to do one too.
Considering that my biggest gripe about the Han Solo movie is that a young actor other than Harrison Ford is playing the character, an Obi-Wan movie would fare better in my eyes without a character recasting. Another idea to explore would be a live-action Clone Wars movie, set in the time period of the animated series. Of course, if this was going to be explored as a film concept, they certainly wouldn't advertise it as Kenobi, a Star Wars story. That series spans far beyond just his character. On top of that, making a film in the Clone Wars era would alienate a huge portion of the potential viewers who either dislike the prequels or haven't seen the show. Also, the last Clone Wars movie didn't turn out so well. It's important to consider the director of the movie, too. Stephen Daldry is known for his emotional character dramas, focusing on the inner struggles that the protagonists have to face. His style would bring a unique flavor to the character of Obi-Wan, serving the project well. It may seem like a departure from typical Star Wars, but Ben's character has had a lot of weight on his shoulders over the years, making a grittier film more appropriate here. So their best option is to follow Obi-Wan on the desolate surface of Tatooine, constrained to watch over a kid for 20 years without any adversary or formerly established villain to go up against. Just vast, bleak nothingness. But I'm sure it'll be fine. Even though they've kinda backed themselves into a corner, with a director like Stephen Daldry and an actor like Ewan McGregor, it's hard to go wrong. So the past has proven to be successful, the near future is looking grim, and the far future is up to pure speculation. Whether you choose to be hopeful or doubtful is up to your own point of view.
You're going to find that many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view.
Subscribe to StarGeek for weekly Star Wars content. If you enjoyed the video, please shoot that like button at light speed. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by clicking the links in the description. And you can check out my last video, the top 10 best scenes from Revenge of the Sith, if you just click on the thumbnail. You can also watch my old video on speculations about an Obi-Wan spin-off trilogy. Until we meet again in a galaxy far, far away, this has been StarGeek.
Another happy landing.